Hi, everyone. This is Olga Mack, building the future of contracts from home. And today I am with my friend and colleague, Rachita. Rachita, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Olga. Great to be back with you. And hi, everyone. This is Rachita Maker. I'm Vice President of Legal Operations and Compliance at Tata Communications. I have over 20 years of experience in the legal services industry. And I also run a personal vlog series on legal operations. So very excited to be here and talking to you, Olga.
Likewise, I'm a huge fan of your videos on LinkedIn, especially. They're very informative and really interesting to watch. Tell me what inspired you to start the series.
I think the pandemic, in some ways, had given me a lot of time on my hand. When you're at home and you're not traveling, you do tend to have some time, but more so, I thought about how do I reach out to the newer generation? How do we spread awareness of the changes that is happening in the legal world? And it just started off by me thinking on a Sunday night, not able to sleep. And I thought about how do we get the message out there of all the changes that are happening in the legal industry. And then I thought maybe I'll do like these really quick videos, which I started doing on my own, but got some amazing feedback. And then we started doing it with where I brought in a guest who was one of the industry leaders, and we talk about, anything from legal process to legal technology to the future of legal education to anything new that's happening in the legal world. So I think, the intent was very clear. The intent was to spread knowledge, but in the bargain, I landed up gaining a lot of knowledge.
That's fantastic. What is the most unexpected thing you learned in the process?
Oh, first of all, Olga, I think I learned how to edit a video, which I had no idea how to do. So it's a new skill that I acquired by doing this. But it's just the interactions that I had with different people. We did wrap up season 1 sometime last month, and I ended up doing about 20 videos in 20 weeks, which I didn't think when I started doing that we would be able to do that. And that was amazing. And I think just the ability to reach out to people and the kind of feedback that I got, then I think it improved my networking skills a lot more than I already had. And just the information of what people are doing out there, right? There was one series where we talked about the future of legal education and what different universities are doing for that. And in one of the videos, where we talked about how the GC can actually be on the CEO path, and the possibilities are endless today. So there were some really, really interesting conversations, some conversations on diversity and inclusion. So I think every vlog gave me something new to learn and to understand, and I think just overall enhanced my skills.
Yeah, I found that writing and talking to people and sharing knowledge did the same to me for the last over 10 years as well. So I completely relate to you. The more you give back, the more it sort of comes back to you and enhances your life and enhances everyone's life and rises all boats. So yeah,
I love your articles too, Olga.
Well, thank you. I wasn't fishing for a compliment. I was just merely relating to your experience.
No, just a very genuine comment.
Thank you. You had a journey to legal ops. How did you get to it? What inspired you? You were in legal services, but you ended up in legal ops. What was that journey like?
Yeah, I think my entire legal career has been a very interesting journey. So when I graduated, and this was almost 20 years ago from law school, the concept of legal services or legal outsourcing, or what we know as ALSP today, did not exist. So you pretty much had, few options. You could go and be a litigator or be in a law firm, corporate law firm, or you could be in-house. There were very few options, but even at that time, legal outsourcing was just opening up, and I decided to start my career in legal operations, something a lot of people at that time said, you're not really a lawyer. That's not what lawyers do. But I had a great journey, because being in India and from India, I got to work with lawyers and attorneys across the world, from the US to the UK, Australia, Singapore. And I think my exposure was immense. I worked with various GCs in different industries, from technology to healthcare to telecom. And we were, always solving some complex problem that an in-house team had, and obviously all related to the legal department. So I spent a large part of my career in the ALSP world, for the largest time. But I think everything that I did kind of set me up for a role in-house in legal operations, from working with GCs across the world, to solving complex problems and coming up with solutions, to knowing what process means, to working with technology. I think each of these skill sets that I acquired as I was going through my professional journey really set me up for this profession and this role in legal operations.
I love the way you framed your journey and how it all adds up to where you are today. Many general counsels view legal operations very strategic. Why do you think it is increasingly the case?
So I'll just rephrase your question. Was it that legal operations is very strategic for general counsels, and why is that?
Why? In the past, this is relative. People call it the rise of legal operations. It's a relatively new function. I mean, it existed in some departments for a little while in some form, but it is increasingly formalizing and professionalizing. And it used to be rare. Now it's becoming the norm, and seen as very strategic in many departments. Why do you think it is?
I think a smart GC will have their legal ops leader as their right hand person, or their chief of staff, or basically their go-to person. And why is this important, right? I mean, the world around us in the last 8 to 10 months has changed. That needless to say that, but even before that, GCs, no matter how big an organization or how small an organization, a legal department inherently is a cost center, right? It's a department that manages risk, but at the end of the day, it's not a revenue generating department. So, and as every organization, you would have cost pressures, which means you need to find ways to do things differently with lesser headcounts, but the business is growing, so you have to be able to support the business in an accelerated method. And legal operations, a strong legal operations leader, it can actually bring a lot of efficiency in the way the legal department does things. They can tell you how to relook at a process and re-engineer it, or what kind of technologies and tools to use, how to structure your teams. So it becomes very important for a GC to have, and there's technology, inflation everywhere, right? We are bombarded with new technology every day today in the legal industry. Again, a strong legal operations department can really skim through what is important, what is critical. Nobody has unlimited budgets to go and play with every new technology that comes in. And also, in a lot of cases, you want to look for ways to use what is out there, which is freely available, and you don't have to spend too much money. So I think keeping these things in mind, you absolutely need to have a strong legal ops leader for the GC, so that they can focus on what is their core. A GC today has a lot of demands from the CEO, from the CXOs, from the board. They're not just expected to just be a cost center, so to say. They're expected to be part of the business. They're expected to have a seat at the table. They're expected to have a say, and they're expected to speak the language of the business. And I think that is something that a legal ops leader can bring in. We did some of the things in terms of doing balanced scorecards for our legal departments initiators, and that those are things that the business talks about and the CEOs are happy to look at. But if you don't have a strong legal ops team, you probably are not going to get there.
So you mentioned there is a special role for legal ops during changing time. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, the world has changed. So it means that we need to change the way we did things. We cannot be doing what we did in 2019 or even in early 2020, right? The pandemic has impacted us in more ways than one. Everybody had to go remote, overnight. There are things, workflows and processes that need to be relooked at, making sure that business was not impacted. And all of this, Olga, one of the things that we all forget, we talk a lot about technology and process, but our people get impacted. Change management is all about how you bring everybody together and make it easy for them to use things, to use tools, to align with the new processes. So I think a strong legal ops leader can really take that charge of communication in these times is the key. I think for any department, not just legal department, taking your people together, communicating with them, holding their hand as these changes are happening so rapidly around them, right? I'm sure you know of lawyers, and I know of lawyers who, when they started off and were with law firms, they were assigned assistants, right? They who would type out for them, who would make briefs for them, etc. In today's world, lawyers are expected to really negotiate over a call while sharing a document via screen and turning it around very, very quickly, or they're expected to use tools and train tools, AI tools, etc. These are concepts that are new. These are concepts that weren't taught to anybody in law school. So I think a strong legal ops department plays a very, very a role of a partner for the legal department, where they're really helping through this entire process.
So well said. So if I were a general counsel and I'm thinking of building this function, or I may even already have one or two people, I think you made a very compelling case as to why have a strong legal ops department. But maybe how can I support and enable those people to succeed and help me succeed in the process as well?
Yeah, so I think the GC plays a very, very strong role, right? He is the voice of the top, and he or she, they absolutely need to talk the language of change, and they need to give out what the vision is. The GC and the legal ops leader really need to work hand in hand for that change to happen. A lot of times, legal ops can also be just viewed as a very reactive department. It can be viewed just as a pure support for the lawyers. If they need some kind of an IT support, or if they need support with spend management. But I think it's a very strategic role for any GC, and the GC really has to drive the vision. They have to set the tone for the department, and I think once a legal ops leader has that support, they can definitely bring a lot of change.
As we talked about, the legal ops function is formalizing increasingly, and a lot of graduates join legal operations. You also have a lot of attorneys who pivot into legal operations. How do you go about acquiring skills necessary to succeed as a legal operations professional?
Very good question, Olga. There is, I don't think there is a course that kind of teaches you legal operations per se, but there definitely are some courses on legal project management. But I think some of the key skills that are required are project management for sure. I think every legal ops professional has to have strong project management skills. That's just a must. And if you can do a project management course, great. If not, you start by managing smaller projects and learn from there, and then build skill sets around that. But that is an absolute must. A legal operations professional has to be a collaborator. This is a journey. It's a profession where you don't work in individual contributor role. You have to work with not just your legal department, but different functions within the organization, whether it's HR, business, finance. So you absolutely have to be you have to be comfortable working with people. You have to be a collaborator. Very, very important. You have to be a very good negotiator as a legal ops professional, because you will have situations where you're representing your department across the organization, or you're negotiating with the vendors and law firms, etc. So I think that's another skills. And some of this is skills that as lawyers, we learn, right? We learn to organize ourselves. We learn to be negotiators. We learn to communicate. So I think there are a lot of overlapping skills. Having strong business excellence and process excellence skills is definitely a must. This is not that something that everybody is inclined to. But I think as a legal ops professional, you do need to have these skills. You'd have to be able to look at a process and say, okay, where are the gaps? Where can you actually make changes and tweaks so that you're able to, make the process better? So I think those skills today, doing a certification in Six Sigma would always help you, or even agile principles. Today, a lot of organizations are adopting agile principles, and I think doing those courses will definitely help you as a legal operations person. There are endless skills, but I think these are the core 4 to 5 skills that as a legal ops professional you absolutely must have.
So great summary of the skills, and really enlightening conversation. And as always, I learned a lot from you. I want to leave viewers and listeners with resources, or your favorite resources that you recommend. What are some of your favorite legal operations resources that you routinely send, people in your department or your colleagues, or people who are beginning or pivoting their careers?
So I highly recommend my vlog series for legal ops professionals. But apart from that, I recommend people to read Richard Susskind's Tomorrow's Lawyer. I think that's a great source. I think there is a lot of material on Clock where people can learn and from other people. So there's a lot of resources there. There is another. There's a consulting firm called GLS, and they have a book for legal operations and legal consulting. So I think that's an interesting source. So there's a lot of material out there. But there are a lot of podcasts, there are a lot of webinars that happen and that are on LinkedIn. So I think people should absolutely just read as much as possible and listen to other people if they want to gain more and more knowledge about this.
Yeah, fantastic resource. And I talk to a lot of legal operators. A lot of it is through courses, but a lot of it is learning by doing. It's a little bit like learning to swim. We can theoretically talk about the water and how it feels to put one, hand after another as you paddle. But, nothing is like getting in and actually paddling. Rachita,
Once you're in the deep end, you don't have any choice.
that's exactly right. Rachita, this was a fantastic conversation. Again, I learned so much from you. I do hope to do it again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Olga. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.